Welcome to Brotherhood of Healing, the podcast devoted to supporting veterans in health, resources, and in life after the uniform. Here we share inspiring stories, valuable information, practical advice to help our veterans thrive beyond their service. Whether you're seeking guidance, community, or simply want to hear from those who understand your journey, you're in the right place. Thank you for your service and welcome to the Brotherhood of Healing. Tying on target now. Welcome back to our podcast. I'm here with Butch Hogan, who is representing VetTix, and he's here to talk to us a little bit about that. Just a reminder, we are in a time right now where we're doing a lot of community work as well as social media in terms for veterans helping veterans. And this segment is dedicated to helping veterans pair up with a nice set of tickets to an event and what have you. And Butch is here to talk more about it. Tell us about VetTix. How did the concept happen? What is your involvement with it?
Yeah. So it was, I had a buddy of mine that went to the Super Bowl here in Phoenix about 17 years ago, I guess now. And he knew some people on the color guard. He knew that they weren't going to be able to seat in the seats after the ceremony, after they did their the national anthem and stuff. And he thought it was kind of a shame that they didn't get to sit down and watch Super Bowl with the rest of the fans. And he looked around, there were some empty seats, so he gives me a call up and he said, "Well, I need a software engineer. And I got this idea." And he came at kind of we didn't have a really good molded idea at that point of what we were going to do. And I was like, "I'm in. It sounds like fun." I had a small mom and pop business building websites for small businesses, some custom applications and stuff like that. So I thought I'll do this on my side time or whatever. And about 6 years later, my wife's like, "Are you ever coming back to work?" And we kept pushing forward with it and kept developing the idea. And now we give out about 1 million tickets every 40 days.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
1 million tickets?
Yeah, across the country, every state. Yep.
Wow, that's impressive.
We have a little bit over 2 million VetTixers, we call them, people that are in our system. Currently serving military, veterans, family members of those killed in action. So a little over 2 million. So we just passed American Legion in size last year.
Wow,
so
that is impressive.
Yeah, it's been an amazing.
How long have you guys been in operation?
A little over 17 years now.
17 years.
Yeah. Great.
Wow, that's impressive.
So, that was the it was an amazing thing. It was going to be a hobby, and now it's my full-time gig. So
it's amazing how we've kind of fallen into things, right?
Yeah.
Lucky are those who at 7 years old, they tell dad that I'm going to be a doctor. And by age 12, they have their first stethoscope. And by 21, they're in medical school. And that's not the case for a lot of folks.
No, in kindergarten, I wanted to race dirt bikes,
There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. Yeah. It was, I grew up on BMX bikes and that kind of thing. That's what my vision was at that time.
I think I just wanted to be on my own.
Right.
Before he got shot. Before Yoko. I but the point is that, when you're a kid, you don't really know, you kind of fall into it. And my epiphany was during Desert Storm. Mm-hmm. So in 1991, while deployed with the 47th Field Hospital, I saw what all the doctors and nurses were doing. And I couldn't think of a more honorable profession than to become a medical provider for those who serve.
Right.
And of course, and then years later, I dedicated myself just to becoming, and then finally I got selected for PA school in the Army, and they sent me to school to become, I get my master's and my doctorate and what have you, and that's what I've been doing, and I never looked back, and I've never been more happier than with doing something that if they only knew I'd done it, I would have done it for free.
Well, yeah, my first time in college was I was in the Army Reserves at that point, and I switched majors every semester for 3 or 4 semesters, and then dropped out and joined active duty. I absolutely had no idea what I wanted to do, and I think it's just at that age it's really hard for a lot of people to understand what you want to do the rest of your life.
It's kind of a hard thing to commit because we don't know what we don't know, and then there's things that are moving targets, where technology just surpasses, I invested heavily in Betamax. See, I had
the Laserdisc.
Yeah, Laserdisc.
Oh my God. Several Laserdisc movies.
That didn't go very long.
Not very long either.
Yeah. Shove one of those in your disc man.
Right.
But Yeah, no. So like with technology, everything kind of is kind of a moving target, right?
Right.
So tell me about the people who want tickets. Most of them are, is it strictly veterans, or is it just veterans and their families, or is it just?
Yeah, it's veterans and their families. We also expanded to first responders
Oh, good.
about
Okay.
5 or 6 years ago.
Oh, very
So we
cool.
have First Ticks and Vet Ticks. So Vet Ticks is all the military community. So that's, like I said, all active duty, currently serving, I should say, currently serving, so guards and reserves as well. Veterans of any era, of any time, as long as you got an honorable discharge and you got DD-14 with that on there.
Gotcha.
We use ID.me, which is a great verification tool.
Very good.
Blake Hall over there built an amazing system.
Yeah.
And we use them for all our verification. And then we have people that are their spouses were deceased at some point, so they're eligible to be in the system too. And then we have the family members of those that killed in action. So those are widows and children of those killed in action.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Now, tell me what is your favorite thing about Vet Ticks? What is the thing that you kind of say, God, this is what makes me go to work every day?
100% the thank you messages.
Nice.
You can get kind of caught up in the bad side of it if you're looking at support and you've seen, the struggles and the pinch points and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell my developers that, if you ever get kind of down, go read some thank you messages.
Yeah.
And it'll pick you right up pretty quick. And it might even make you cry at
Yeah.
different times. There's some really moving messages in there. So.
Well, I know my wife and I, Sonia, my wife, she's an Air Force veteran, and myself, and we've utilized Vet Ticks for one event. It was for, I believe it was, I don't know if it was a hockey game. It was something like that. It wasn't, and we managed to get tickets and we went.
Yeah.
We had a great time. I can't tell you how awesome it was to be able to just pick them up and just.
You know what? Even as a CTO and a founder, it's I've been to some events that I would never have went to on my own. And it's like, well, we've got some extra tickets. I'll go to whatever it is, a play or maybe a musical or something, and it's expanded my kind of aperture on what's interesting, And that we see that a lot from feedback from people too. It's like, I would have never done this or never done that, and this is really. I'm now a theater person,
right?
Now,
exactly. Now I fall in love with this particular genre. So.
Right.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Now tell me about your military. Now you served active duty also.
So yeah, I was in the reserves first. My junior in high school, I joined the Army Reserve. Then, like I said, I didn't know what I was doing in college, so my brother and I were both in the reserves at that time. We were both in the basement of my uncle's house where we lived, and we were both like, man, we're poor. We can't eat. College life.
Sure.
Ramen noodles, and every once in a while you get some eggs.
Yeah.
And so we were like, those active duty guys had nice car stereos, so let's sign up. Next day we went down to MEPS and recruiter. I'm sorry, and then shortly after that MEPS, and we both got stationed in Germany.
Where at?
Freiburg, Germany.
Okay.
We were part of the 3rd Armor Division support. We were 3rd COSCOM, but did that for 2.5 years. Desert Storm happened. Stop loss happened. Those sorts of things. We both had different orders after that, and afterwards we both went to Fort Hood together.
Oh, nice.
So I got married while I was in Fort Hood with a girl I met from Germany. She was our Army cook, and had my first child in '92, and went to Fort Lewis, Washington after that, and decided that I was done missing first steps and those sorts of moments, and wanted to get out. So got out, got divorced, became a single dad, and then went to University of Kansas.
Very cool.
So that's kind of my journey there.
That's a great. I can totally get what you're saying. I told in one of my episodes recently, I told our listeners about how my 10-year-old right now is my do-over kid. Right. Yeah. Where before my other kids, I missed out on so much of their lives, because I was either deployed, and as you well know, the Army is a jealous lover, so it doesn't allow you that liberty to just do whatever you want. You have to,
My first wife used to ask me, "Why are you going to the field? Why are you going to training?" And she served as well. So I was like, "How do you not know this isn't a choice I get? These are orders, and you go." You're not optional.
Things. Can I stay home today?
Right.
Get your gear and let's go.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, that's phenomenal. The program that you guys have is really, really cool. I'm blown away by the amount of tickets.
been an amazing journey. Honestly, it's unbelievable at times, and
I love it.
now we're starting to roll in some additional AI type of tools to help us. We're a 99 point something every year audited nonprofit. So every year, every dollar we get in, we spend at least 99 cents back into our program, and so usually 99.4, 99.5, like in that range. And so we try to stay pretty lean on our employees and that kind of thing. So there's now we're adding some bunch of AI tools and a bunch of more development, and we've got a pretty small crew of like 30 some people that manage all this. So,
that's not small. That's a lot, I think.
Yeah.
And well, what do I know? But
compared to other nonprofits at that same level, it's minuscule kind of thing. But we're all online, and it's very much as much as we can do to make everything smooth and seamless for everybody is kind of our goal. So.
Now, what does wife do? Does she work for the same thing?
She's doing. She's managing our chatbot at this point.
Okay. She's
a data analyst person, and so we speak kind of the same language, but not really all the time. Mm-hmm. But she is she's built that up from scratch using Azure's products, and kind of just constantly monitoring that and building it, making it better and better, and every day it gets a little smarter, gets a little better, help people out. So yeah.
Oh man, I love it. So tell me about some of the sporting events that you guys offer.
So everything from minor league events to hockey, football, baseball to the pros. Our biggest thing is college athletics. I think college football season's pretty much our biggest kind of pull from everybody, and concerts would be our up there too. But sports wise, it's everything. I mean, yeah.
So especially Arizona has so many venues that you can go to. You can. Right. It could be minor league. It could be training camps. It could be
the Rattlers. They're playing
exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's honestly that's kind of where sports wise, that's kind of where we kind of got our foot in the door. Was a lot of minor league stuff. We got a lot of extra seats and stuff. So we're really good at recycling unused seats. So
when I was I was company commander in San Antonio, and the Spurs had this program for soldiers because they really like a uniform, and I think this had to do with Robinson, on the Admiral. Remember, he was the point 3-pointer.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think he was a reserve Navy. He was a Navy reserve officer.
Yeah.
And he, so I think it came from him. But what they do, they would go to the commands and they would hand out 20 tickets to each command. And
the exact thing happened at Fort Lewis with us too. Like we get a formation, nobody can leave till I get rid of these tickets.
You're going. You put your uniform on. You show up.
Right.
So we had to all show up in uniform. That was the thing.
Right.
And we get a hot dog, a drink, soda, and a T-shirt sometimes.
Right.
And so all the soldiers, I'd bring in 20 soldiers who would sit in this little area, and they would do the salute the troops kind of thing. I got to see some of these Spur games for free.
That's cool.
It was so awesome.
In a way, that's since all of us were veterans ourselves that started this, that was one of the things we wanted to avoid. It was like these mandatory fun type of things that you were given these tickets in a formation on Friday. You had to go Saturday. You didn't want to be there, but you had to be there, and you had to be in uniform. You couldn't drink alcohol. These sorts of things. So we wanted people to be their vacation or this little check out for a minute and not be anybody but just part of the community.
Correct.
That's what we wanted. So that was our goal. So we've been asked several times by donors, can you have people show up in uniform or no? We'll never ask our vet fixers to do anything but enjoy their events.
Well, of course, a lot of them are veterans too, and I don't know about you, but my uniform doesn't fit in them up. I'm just saying. Right. I don't know why he's laughing.
I kept my belt from
the stretchy one.
Well, it wasn't stretchy, but it was up in Fort Lewis, Washington, 7th ID. 9th Infantry.
Right.
It was a Manchu March, and you got a belt buckle afterwards. So it was very much like you would flash your belt buckle, and if the other person didn't have it,
buy them a drink.
Like
exactly. The coins, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I kept that, and I've tried to put that on a couple of times. It's nowhere here. It will not get to the. It's not latching up.
Who shrunk my class A's? I'm trying to fit in that thing. My wife's going. We might have to grease you to put you, slide into the.
Yeah.
But life. What are you gonna do?
Right.
But so so we're big fans ourselves. If somebody wanted to get a hold of you guys to either volunteer something or to do some things like that, what would be the best way?
We don't have any volunteers at all, so it's kind of an interesting thing where we want to stick to tickets and getting tickets and just keep it very streamlined stuff. But if they wanted to like suggest an event, say in their area, or give us some leads on donors and stuff like that too.
Correct.
We have a page at vettix.org. You just click donate, and there's some information there that they can.
Now, do people donate money to?
They do, yes, they do, yeah. And 100% of the money that comes in, it goes right to buying tickets. No overhead on that part at all. So if you give me $100, I'm gonna go find $100 worth of tickets.
Yeah, you get the biggest bang for your buck.
Yeah. Like I said, we just do tickets. We thought about doing a bunch of other things and trying to, but we're just really good at that. Let's just stay good at that. So.
Well, I think swag could be a really nice added thing.
So we do have that. Yeah, we have a store. People can buy shirts and hats and stuff, and. We have a coin system that is part of our lottery system. So when we first started out, everything was first come, first served, which wasn't really great for people who had jobs at certain times. Like we would release the event, and whoever was off work at that time would get the tickets. Yeah. So we started a lottery. So they put their name in a hat with each coin they put in. So they can earn coins by saying thank you. They can earn coins by wearing our gear at the event, that sort of stuff. So and the biggest thing is referring other veterans. Gotcha. They get coins for that too. So they can put their name in a hat 100 times, 1,000 times, whatever many coins they have. So that's kind of the coin lottery system.
So that really helps narrow down the possibility of getting tickets to something like that.
It does. It helps a few things. The people that are really interested get to go and they show up, and our donors love our retention rate. 90% or so that the people that get those tickets show back up. So they love that, and they get a little skin in the game with the coins, I guess, basically.
Yeah. I love that. So before you were here, we had Soldier's best friend, and it was an organization, also a nonprofit organization that kind of does this whole thing. And really, the podcast that I'm trying to launch is about resources for veterans, as well as health and welfare, as well as veteran initiatives and veteran interests, right? So having you on, first of all, I'm super proud that you're here, because I think our listeners are really going to get a lot out of this.
I've been asked a lot to do podcasts. This is the first one I'm doing. Just so you know.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
I'm just like,
rank has we happen to know each other.
Yeah.
But you're one of the first names I thought of for as a guest.
Cool.
And I'm so glad that we're able to connect, and because it's been a really long time since the last time I saw you in your life. I think it was a barbecue or something a while back.
Yeah, I went through a little cancer phase and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was a very, very, oh my God.
Yeah. I just kind of trucking through life, being, I thought, healthy and pretty in shape and all that kind of stuff, and started having some symptoms, and went in and found out that I had kidney cancer in both kidneys, and a spot in my bladder was bad, and it was exposure to a chemical called trichloroethylene that was the solvent that they used to use for tracks to break down the grease, and I was using armor at the time, and our guys would go over and dunk the weapons in the solvent tanks, and then I would sit in there and breathe it in 8 hours a day for a year and a half. You know what I mean? So it's the shelf, or the lifespan on it is about everything just lined up perfect, and I was like, well, I wonder if that was it, and sure enough, so. But
are you linked in with the VA at all?
Yes. Okay. Yes, yeah, rated and all that kind of. They took care of me. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, how do you go to the VA and leave your card by chance?
I don't. No. Yeah.
Just kind of leave a bunch of cards there.
In the very beginning, we were very guerrilla marketing. Every time any car that had a veteran plate on it, we'd shove their card in the window and that kind of thing or whatever. But we've been able to get away from that now, so people referring people.
We have evolved.
Yeah.
We have people for that.
We have other Vettixers, right, that are out there enjoying their lives and talking about it, and that's the best way to market.
Word of mouth.
So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I tell people all the time, both in clinic and Sonia, she's a clinical psychologist. Yes. She has her own practice, and she has a couple veterans working for her. But also she sees quite a few veterans.
Yeah.
So she's always putting the, and you'd be surprised how people don't know about it.
Right.
I'm always kind of like, really, you don't? I don't know. What do they do? Yeah. You want to take a sec? Go find out.
Right. Well, we're right, 2 million people. We're really at under 10%, right at 10% probably is all on the veteran community at this point. You know what I mean? So there's several ways to grow, which we continually, I think, will. So it's going to be an interesting next few years, honestly. So.
Well, it's kind of interesting how you kind of fell into it. Now this became your life passion. Right?
Yeah.
And it's and even through your trials with the cancer and everything, you're able to continue working through this.
Right.
Because I can imagine there's a certain amount of stress that goes along with this job, just like anything else.
Yeah, I think for me, I've always looked at stress as like the challenge that you're up against at that point, and so it's almost rewarding a little bit. I'm maybe a little weird or off on that, but I always look at it. Well, this is a stressful moment, but at some point, I'm going to look back on this and go, I did that.
Yeah.
And that's the victory lap and a pretty self-rewarding moment, So
that's a very good attitude.
When things get a little stressful, it's like, it's okay, guys, we'll figure this out and we'll get through this. Yeah.
Life happens just the way it's supposed to, right?
Yeah, I agree.
And we can say what we want. Robin Williams said it best. Says, "You want to make God laugh? Tell him your plan."
I like that.
But what I'm trying to say is that these things, these little challenges that are put in front of us, is you're right. It's kind of like what shapes them. We were talking earlier about PTSD with our last guest, and we're talking about how PTSD shapes people into who they become.
Right.
This has to happen in order for you to become this later in life.
Yep.
Kind of thing.
Bad relationships make you a better partner.
Better
at some
partner.
point,
having a disease process that gives you pause and gives you a little bit more insight and clarity about things.
Your things you look at are a lot different. Like the things that you think is rewarding in your life. You just all of a sudden money doesn't matter, health matters, and all that. But and I got in a pretty dark spot afterwards. It was, I went through a phase that was, why me? You go through the
stages of 5 stages.
I don't know what they are, but it was definitely.
Grief,
I was definitely angry for a moment. I was had some pity for a while, and then anger and rage for a while. And then you come out of it. Then I realized, then I realized that I'm making a lot of bad choices in all this, eating wrong and everything else, and I need to get back in shape. And then I do that, I get through that cycle, and I'm pretty happy now. So it's I don't think anybody that really explained this is what you're going to go through, and it was kind of a heck of a journey, I guess.
Yeah, well, mentally strong is what gets a lot of people through this stuff. If you're mentally strong, you're focused on like you said, dealing with the challenges, and just kind of later on kind of say, well, I got through that.
Yeah. It's exactly the same as any other, but just a longer cycle. I just didn't know if I was going to get through it for a while, and I was a little mad,
right? And sad, and all these emotions that kind of tend to kind of play into this.
But you look back at it, and you're like, hey, that made me better.
Absolutely.
So
But then what sucks is the here and now.
Right.
The here and now kind of sucks, right? Because you're like, well, you're right. Why me? This sucks. All this stuff. And then later on, it's kind of like being in the military. Same thing. You're in the suck, and and then you get back home, and you're like, God, I'm super proud of what I did over there. Right. I'm super proud of what I'm doing. So there's the reward is disguised oftentimes by that.
In the middle of it, you might be tired of being wet and dirty or whatever, and just tired and everything. So
mud up to your neck.
Yeah. That's not fun.
Yeah. Well, you're in Germany, so
I didn't get
Germany, you have like two big.
I didn't do much there, but we shipped ammo downrange. That's what we did.
Well, but you know how it rains a lot in Germany.
Yeah.
And we have Vielflecken, and we have the other place I can't remember.
And I should know this too.
Hohenfels.
Yes, thank you.
And so they have those two areas there that are training areas, and of course, you go out there, and you go out there for like 45 days at a time, and you've already flipped your underwear like 5 times.
Socks.
Socks. You recycled everything.
Socks.
Great is the day when you're able to
Yeah,
just sneak off and go to the laundry mat. And,
Yeah.
but so
The
that.
stateside it was NTC all
Right,
the time,
yeah.
so that's where I
Oh,
spent way too many days out there.
Our station there.
Oh really?
Fort Irwin, yeah.
Oh okay.
Jeez.
That's heck of a deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some I can't remember who said it best. He said, it's Fort Irwin is where you fart in your car and you roll the window up.
That's awful.
I laughed at that for hours, right? And I was like, that's right.
Oh,
Well, actually, he was talking about the town outside of
right, yeah,
outside
yeah,
of Fort Irwin.
That's funny.
That long drive going to Fort Irwin.
Yeah.
It takes
We would railhead stuff down into Yuma and then drive up.
Oh, nice.
We did that a few times.
Nice. Well, on the other side of Fort Irwin is Vegas. You can see the lights of.
Right. Even back when I was there, we would all try to get radios and try to see if we could get that station from
Right.
there, or listen to some music at some point.
Yeah, some good tunes, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. So what's next for VetTix?
I think it's just about growing still. We're I don't think we're anywhere near where we'll be in 2 to 5 years. But we're growing 40% a year probably in tickets is year over year, and we just want to continue that as much as we can, as long as we can.
So if somebody wanted to donate money
Yeah.
for this, vettix.com.
Vettix.org.
.org, sorry.
Yeah.
.org.
.com will get you there as well, but .org, yeah. You can go there and donate. But if they're a veteran, I'd rather have them sign up and get some free tickets. That's mostly what we need. So,
Fair enough.
Yeah. Need people in seats enjoying their day
Yep.
and spend time with their families and friends and all that. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know if I share this with you, but my son, he's a very competitive soccer and hockey player.
Cool.
So
I think I've seen some hockey pictures.
Yes,
online.
you've probably seen
Yeah.
it's been there's a couple ones that are infamous. Landing him with 12 minutes in the penalty box.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
I think I missed that.
Yeah.
Actually, but
Yeah,
proud
that's
dad moments.
so my wife, you can clearly hear my wife on the other. Oh, nice hit. Oh no, not good.
I love that.
I was like, so, and the
Just
coach
gonna
goes,
withhold my comments at this moment. Is that where you're at?
the coach goes, see you there, son. Kind of sounded a little bit like father like
That's
see,
awesome.
son,
Right.
you can't do that right now. In a couple of years,
All right. Then it's, yeah.
But he's only 10, so they want him to be at least in a different level.
Yes.
So right now he's a
Yeah.
squirt, so the next one up,
Cool.
he's able to check more.
Yeah.
Not that it's
Nice.
a,
That's awesome.
but it keeps me busy, man.
Yeah.
It keeps me busy.
Right.
And it keeps us.
That's
we
good.
Do a lot of
How old
traveling.
is he now?
10.
10. Okay.
I
Cool.
mean,
My youngest just graduated high school. So yeah.
are
So
you guys empty nesters?
we're going to be soon. Yes. Now it's the next chapter of what we're doing with ourselves.
Travel.
Yes,
What you
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. These are like phases in your life. Like
Mhm.
you get to reinvent yourself at
Yeah,
different times.
absolutely.
And stuff. So now we're in that. We're going to reinvent ourselves and figure out what that is. So we don't know yet. We're not sure yet. We bought a boat.
Did you really?
Yeah. So that's
Very nice.
we'll see if we're boat people. I'm not sure, and go from there, So
Well, we went out with some friends that had a boat, and I saw how much work it was. After
absolutely.
cleaning and wiping
But I think
down.
that's what I'm going to need something to do, So, we'll see.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't mind outsourcing that.
Right.
Yeah, just drop it off, let them clean it.
That's what a couple of my buddies said. They have people for that.
I have people for that.
You
Pay
pay
a
for
little
that.
fee.
Yeah.
Pay a little docking fee.
Right.
It's a lot of work,
So we'll see.
but that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Let's do a lot.
we'll see. Right now I guess my hobbies are growing flowers in my backyard. So I'm not sure. I'm like, I enjoy that, but at the same time, like I need to find something else to do.
Yeah,
So,
Well, listen. So I don't know if I should.
I don't work 24 hours a day like I used to.
No.
Like, it's like I got really good software developers, working with us. So it's
streamline things.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if I share this with you, but I still work with Sonia. I do consulting work for her, and I also do. I see some of the patients. And,
Yes, I see a few other acronyms or initials behind your
yeah,
front of your name, I
I
guess.
went back to school, got my doctorate,
Nice.
and so, but I really consider myself really semi-retired because I don't, and because I have the young kid that I have to drive all over the country.
Good.
Keeps me busy, right?
Well, you have an older one too. You said, right? So it's like a flash of an eye, and they're graduating high school. It's I've done it twice, and both times were way too fast. So yeah, absolutely. So enjoy it, right?
Yeah,
every minute.
Well, I tell everybody the same story. I think I said it earlier today too. It's like when Sonia joined the Air Force and they're dangling that lieutenant colonel to me, and like, that sort of thing. If you stay in 5 more years, I was just so done with the military. I think at the time I was just not. I think I was just when it's time to go. It's time to retire.
For me too. And I didn't retire. I was in 10 years.
Right.
And for me it was just like
you're the halfway mark.
My son was 2 years old at that time, 2.5, and I was like, I just can't miss anything. I don't want to miss this.
Exactly.
And that's when I got out. And a lot of people are like, wow, you're crazy at that point, and I'm like, no, it actually was the perfect thing for me. It was, everybody's different, whatever. So
I missed out so much.
Again, you look back at your past and you're like, this made me who I was. So all these little choices.
Yeah.
But
right, wrong, and different. And the thing is about making decisions and choices. You can at the time that might be the right decision.
Mm.
Later on down the road, in retrospect, you go, "Wow, that was really dumb. I should have done that."
And we've all done that, right?
But at the time, it was the right.
But you can't change it because you wouldn't be right here, right now.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
You met who you met,
right?
Being where you're at.
Exactly. Yeah. I always think that. We always talk. My wife and I talk about stuff like that a lot. And it's like, no, it would be right here, So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Has Sonia decided to stay in medical school and not go do psychology and just become a clinical psychologist at the doctorate level as well?
Right.
But I would have never met her.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it would have taken her a residency somewhere else.
Right.
Instead she was at Kapiolani, she was in Hawaii, and those sort of things. And then when I was there, I met her, but otherwise I would have never met her.
So when I got out of the service, I was a medical supply guy at that point, and because I got tired of being gone all the time, I'm gonna go to medical supply. I switched MOSs, and then they put me in 7th ID. So I just said this: the military, right?
Careful what you wish for.
You're not going to work in the hospital.
Yeah.
So when I got out, I was going to become a pharmacist. That's why I chose University of Kansas.
Oh, nice.
And then I became a single dad, and I was like, "There's no way I'm going through 5 years."
I have a friend of mine that
PharmD school.
PharmD school.
Oh, really? Yeah.
In Kansas.
Yeah. I was like, "It's not happening." So then I'm like, I'll do computer science instead. I really like computers. Let's try that out. And that's where that was the rest of my story in a way. From building websites to Vetix, So yeah, absolutely.
It's a really, really impressive career and journey.
Yeah, it has been. It has been.
With lots of stuff in the way. You overcame all of these things,
but that's amazing about life, right? Yeah,
sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Sure. So I think I worked enough manual labor jobs in my life, and I'm nothing against them or anything, but like, I didn't want to run barbed wire fences and castrate pigs the rest of my life, And growing up in South Central Nebraska, that's very much what it was,
Right.
Very, very manual. My little brother still works. He's a agricultural world, and they still do a lot of manual labor, and they're beat themselves up a little bit. So I was like, how do I not do?
I don't even want to wash a boat.
How do I not do manual labor? Yeah. So I was like, well, computer science seems like that's not very manually, So I don't even have calluses on my fingers.
Work over tunnels, so
Right, yeah.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah, no, I saw what the doctors and the nurses were doing when I was in Desert Storm, and I said, this is what I have to do for life.
Right.
This is what I need to do. And of course, I went to school, and every class I took was in order to get closer to that goal. And then eventually I got selected for PA school, and then then they sent me to school to get my master's, and then with my GI Bill, I got my doctorate. And I just had enough GI Bill left to get my doctorate.
So can I ask you a question?
Sure, absolutely.
So what is the difference between a psychiatrist PA and a psychiatrist practitioner, I think?
Or nurse practitioner?
Is that,
a lot of people say, well, the nurse practitioner, psych nurse practitioners, they go through more formal training for psychiatry. Yeah. But the program I went to through the university, Rocky Mountain University, was pretty intensive.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's even valid anymore.
Is it similar in like
you do the exact same thing?
Medical a nurse practitioner versus a PA on that
So
side?
PAs were first. So PAs were the first. We're molded after the medical model. So the medical model was so medical school, medical students. So we kind of fall into their model.
Okay.
The nursing model, which is very different, but equally as good, if not better, sometimes in a lot of ways. And I'm a big fan of the nursing program, because it was a nurse who made me a PA.
Okay.
Wrote my letter of recommendation, right?
Nice.
So I have a lot of love for my nurses, and I can tell you that the nurse practitioners, they're very good at what they do. They go through a lot of the same schooling. They do some extra stuff, I think, and they take care of patients beautifully. Then you have your MDs, your psychiatrists. These are the folks who go to medical school and they decide they're going to be a psychiatrist. They prescribe a lot of medication. We prescribe medication as well.
You can prescribe as well.
Yeah.
And nurse practitioners can.
They do as well. Yeah. So all through us. So when I say the piece was first,
on the other end of it, I don't really know as a patient.
Right.
Like they all seem very capable to me.
Yeah.
And,
they get good training. I mean, the nursing model is very, very, very clever too. Very good. But I can tell you that the PAs were generated during the Vietnam War. We didn't have enough doctors going.
Oh, okay.
So they had to figure out a super medic.
Yeah,
so
like
they can
fast track a doctor.
Exactly. We need medical personnel. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but during combat, doctors develop what's called an eye problem. They can't see themselves going.
I didn't know this. Really?
Can't see myself going. I thought it was a funny joke. But anyway, but so a lot of PAs go in lieu of a doctor. Okay. The nurse practitioners in the military, they're starting to deploy a lot more now. But before they were mostly hospitalists. They stayed in the hospital.
Right.
And the PAs were the ones deploying, with the armor units and infantry units and so on.
Well, I know so I was in a medical corps my last few years, and the medics themselves, I know there was a transition for them when they got out of the service because they knew more, or maybe that's what we thought. Or they could do more than an EMT, for example. And then they got out, and you have these civilian guidelines kind of thing that they had to go get certs and
less autonomy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I used to train my medics to be very independent. Because a lot of times I'm not there.
Right.
And I have to rely on them to do the right thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I train my medics for that. And so they come out in the civilian sector and they know a lot of stuff.
Right.
They know a lot of stuff. They know.
But now they're liable and illegal.
Right.
Issues.
Now all of a sudden there's all this other stuff. Oh, wait a minute. You don't want to put that needle in that chest.
Yeah.
The doctor.
Yeah.
It's going to save their life.
The lungs collapse.
You're not qualified.
Right.
Wasn't as a military. So.
Right.
Life-saving techniques. Yeah. But I'm so happy and proud that you came out to be with us today. I think we're putting out a lot of good messages. Like I said before, a lot of my goal is to get information out there to veterans, veterans helping veterans, dealing with health issues, dealing with other things, and I think that, what you do, it brings a lot of joy.
Right. And it was almost unplanned. You know what I mean? Like we didn't know how much of an impact we were going to have on the mental side of things.
Right.
And then you start reading those thank you messages, and you're like, wow, I did.
What an impact.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
But what I love about you, Butch, is that you don't do it for the letters.
No.
Right. You don't do it for the letters. Right. You do it because you love doing this.
It's an unexpected bonus.
It's an unexpected bonus, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So invariably, I'll get a email. Not as much anymore because I've been out in the military for a while. But I used to get emails fairly, once or twice a year from somebody that I wrote them a letter for PA school, nursing school, or something like that.
Right.
And they're telling me how they're doing great, they're doing this and that, and I'm looking at the name, I don't recognize the name. And I show it to my wife, she goes, and I said, God, I feel so bad, I don't know who this is. She goes, no, I don't want you to know who this is. Because if you know who this person is, that means that you did this deliberately for this glory.
Oh, right. That's interesting because I reached out to my XO that laterally promoted me to corporal, and same thing, said thank you. Here's where I got to, and the same things. Like I remember a guy named Hogan, but like that was it. You know what I mean? So
a few kind
that
words
must be the other. Yeah. It's an interesting thing.
So, if you a little support, a little little kind words, a little words of encouragement.
Right.
You're surprised where this goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I think it's amazing.
Right. My XO in Fort Lewis, Washington, I really looked up to, and little things like that. He was a mentor and dad figure at times, that kind of thing. So absolutely.
Tell you just the right what you need to hear sometimes.
Yeah.
To motivate you to do amazing stuff.
Yeah, and become a leader. You know what I mean? I think those little nudges at the right time are important. You know,
when they see that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, it's just kind of go. Step in
yeah,
my office.
right.
You should be saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's amazing, man. I'm really happy that you came out today. Again, for those listeners out there who are interested in donating or being more familiar with VetTix, vettix.org is a amazing organization. I can't speak enough about it. I totally love the project. I think it's just you're doing a great kindness to a lot of the veteran population out there, and I really think that's amazing.
It's a motivating thing to do every day. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah.
And the fact that you're a veteran as well, and that sort of thing kind of gives you legitimacy to the project and everything. And it's like, well, not only am I the hair club president,
right, exactly. So there you go.
He's
all
like,
good.
Because we don't have no hair, you see. He does. So.
Well, I don't know what that feels like.
When I was in the military, I remember when I was in basic training, I got one of those barracks haircuts by one of your friends that got the clippers. Right. So I had like this little
That's one of the ones in formation.
Yeah.
Your squad leader, somebody's like, go get that fixed.
I did more push-ups before 9 a.m. Because of that stupid mohawk.
Right,
and then, so I used to shave my head when I was in the military, thinking that when I got out, I'm just going to grow this beautiful hair,
Get a permanent and everything, all curly, just,
something to that effect. But no, it never came back, bastards. But
anyway. I thought it was the hat. It was making my hairline recede. It's damn hat on too
damn
much.
Wearing that cap day in and day out.
Right.
But what else is going on? So the last couple of minutes of our segment here, what message do you want to send out? Do you have anything you want to share?
Put me on the spot.
No,
I don't know.
You don't have to.
Nothing really. Just be kind to yourself. And keep pushing. You'll get through it. Yeah. That's my message.
I tell people to keep their powder dry and watch their six. So that's gonna be it for us today. I'd like to invite you again at some point to come back on as like a recap and see how you're doing, and see how things have changed over time, and that sort of thing. And see how we do. But I think we're set, man. Good. Thank you for tuning in to Brotherhood of Healing. If you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode, and for that we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment and leave us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Your feedback helps us grow and bring you even better content. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep your powder dry and watch your six.